Hey guys, WiFox1225 here, and we got some huge information recently about Far Cry 4. So Far Cry 3 being probably one of my top 5 favorite games of all time. More information about Far Cry 4 is just really exciting. So we got information about the new location, and we also got information about a release date. So I'll be going over all of that, pretty much everything we know. There's a little bit of chunks of information that don't really relate to the release date or the location that I'm going to share with you guys too. And then after that, I'm just going to tell you kind of what I want to see from Far Cry 4. Not really an extensive wish list, more of just some few things that I want them to do, and more just general ideas. So first off, the location is in the Himalayas, and it really is a big change. You know, we go from Far Cry 2 being in Africa to Far Cry 3 being in this really tropical island place, and now we're going to be in the Himalayas, which are going to have like snowy mountain ranges and things like that. So a really huge change for the Far Cry franchise, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out. I think it's going to be weird to play a Far Cry game in a snowy environment, just because we've played them in all these deserty, islandy environments for so long, but I am excited for the change. I think it's going to bring a breath of fresh air to the series, and I'm really excited. And I think the location was a pretty good choice. Far Cry always has to be, pretty adventurous locations, so I think the Himalayas was a pretty good choice. And we're just gonna have to wait for some gameplay to see what it looks like, but I'm really excited about it. So next we learned about the release date, which is going to be early 2015, and apparently the aim is to get the game released before the end of March 2015. So in terms of what it's coming out on, definitely coming out on PC, or nothing's confirmed about what it's coming out on, but probably PC, Xbox One, and PS4, being that those are all the next-gen titles. It is possible that it would come to Xbox 360 and PS3, however, I doubt it. I think it's more likely just to come to the next-gen consoles and the PC. So apparently the first time we're going to get to see a glimpse of this game is going to be at E3 2014, so that's actually coming up pretty quickly, so we should know more about Far Cry 4 within the next couple months. So other than that, we got some chunks of information that, like I said, don't really relate to much. But the gameplay will remain pretty similar to Far Cry 3. I think that's a good choice. I think the combat system was really solid in Far Cry 3. And moving on to the next game in the Far Cry series, I don't feel the need for a huge change in combat or gameplay or anything like that. Obviously, we need a new story, new characters. That really was, for me, what drove Far Cry 3, as well as great level setup, great stealth, and just great gameplay overall. So I think it was a really good choice to keep the gameplay pretty similar to Far Cry 3. And like I said, they just need to switch up the story, and it'll still be a really engaging, fun game, and it won't feel like stale and like it's just repeating Far Cry 3. Also, this game will have an emphasis on hunting. Far Cry 3 did have an emphasis on hunting, but apparently this game will have maybe even more. At least that's what I kind of got from the article. And by the way, there will be a link in the description to the article that Eurogamer actually posted, and they were the ones who actually found all this information out. Other than that, we also know that there will be outposts that you can liberate, just like Far Cry 3. That system worked a lot better than Far Cry 2, where just more bad guys kept spawning and spawning at those little checkpoints, and it just was a real pain. And other than that, we do know that the game, just by doing math, has been in development for about 2 years. So that's just a little bit of information that I want to share. Other than that, I just want to quickly go over what I want to see from Far Cry 4. And this is by no means like a long, extensive list of all the features I want to see. Just kind of an overall sense of what I want them to change. I really want them to keep it adventurous like the Far Cry series always has been. Nothing too crazy, but, not looking for like an Indiana Jones game. But things like, hang gliders, things like jumping suits, like flying squirrel suits, things like that Far Cry 3 had, just keeping it kind of, really out there and different from the standard shooter. So one thing like that we did get to hear is that there will be rideable elephants making an appearance in the game, which is super awesome. I'm just talking about like things like that really make the game different than other shooters out there. So I really would love to see some more stuff like that. like I said before, I really want them to focus on the story, because for me, the story was half of what made Far Cry 3 great, and the gameplay was the other half. And like I said, it also had a great level setup. But I really want them to make the story really good for Far Cry 4. I don't want them to make it too familiar to Far Cry 3. I do think we need like a new story. Obviously we're going to get new characters, but I don't want Ubisoft to get caught up in the success of Far Cry 3 and think that they should just kind of repeat the story using different characters. I definitely don't want that. But I would love them to keep some things about the story, you know, the twists it had, things like that, you know, the character talking to himself, things like that. But I don't want, like, obviously a complete repeat of the story. So they really need to focus on the story and just make Far Cry 4 story just as good as Far Cry 3. And then the last thing is that I really want them to drop the multiplayer. No one really played that. It was not really good. It was kind of a Call of Duty ripoff. It just wasn't good. And focus on making a better co-op, because I never played the co-op in the game. I never even bothered, but apparently it wasn't too good. So I would love to see them make like a large open world co-op with like missions and maybe even a story. I think that would be really good. So that pretty much wraps up the video. I hope you guys liked the video. As we get more Far Cry 4 information, I will be definitely covering it. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe. If you liked the video, give it a like. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.